Hi, good morning, everyone. So we are back with you know a live session today, talking about the market. So, uh, let's quickly go to that. And I was checking the Nifty index. We have been discussing this for 3 to 4 days now. The Nifty index is actually have turned a bit sideways. Okay, and we have been repeatedly highlighting the importance of the 40-hour exponential average. So far, it seems to be finding some resistance over there and finding a hurdle to break above this. So let's see whether it breaks or not. But as you know, and we have been discussing as well, uh, I somehow feel that this should eventually break on the upside, and it is not just a feeling, but it is backed by the data. So we spoke about the sentiment indicator, about the daily swing, and that also seems to be recovering now, and this largely means that the momentum in the FNO basket stock seems to be picking up. And if that happens, then typically we should see the Nifty index also rising higher. And in fact, one more interesting thing was that the 20-day AD ratio, okay, that has also now started to rise higher. So in AD ratio, what typically happens is that there is a bit of a lag because we are smoothing it by the 20-day period. But the 20-day AD ratio rising higher is an indication that the breath has, that the breath is now starting to pick up. The other thing why I feel that the bounce could still play out is that when you see the diffusion indicator, okay, like the RMI, the percentage of stocks with RMI buy for the Nifty index, it recently touched the oversold zone, and from there we are trying to bounce back. And typically, we have seen that whenever we hit this oversold zone, we do tend to get a short-term pop. This was the case over here as well, and so on, right? So this is one. And in fact, the percentage of stock with MACD buy, okay, MACD is slightly slower than RMI. So those people who don't know, RMI is basically a proprietary indicator, which is a faster version, you can say, of MACD, which tends to give signal a little more early. So now, when you see the percentage of stocks with MACD buy, that also has hit, the oversold zone. So both of them have now, hit the oversold. You can see that it had, the RMI had hit the oversold zone on 14th itself. MACD, on 15th, it had hit that level, right? So that is why, when I see all this, at least what it tells me is that there is a room for a bounce. Okay, now one can debate if the high will be broken or not, but at least what it might end up seeing is some sort of durable bounce, and then it may fall if it has to fall. Okay, looking at the other data points that we have been discussing in the last 3 to 4 days, I don't feel so that we may see something like this. But you never know. But at least the least expectation would be to go somewhere till here and then see what is happening. And basically, there is one more level that we have been calling out, and that is the 61.8% retracement, which is, say, somewhere around 25,410 or so. Okay, if we take the exact levels, then so that is the level to watch out for. Let's see how it plays out. But so far, the Nifty index is above the 40-day exponential average, and that is sort of a positive, at least in the near term. Okay, and in the coming days, what we would be watching out for is a close above the 40-hour exponential average. Now, we are getting this RMI sell, but if the whole low holds or it does not break, then there is a good chance maybe we see a little bit of consolidation, which can help the RMI go back to the zero line. And from there, we can end up seeing one more leg on the up move. Okay, we can see one more leg on the upside. So that is what the expectation is. Okay, now the important part is, what's the observation today. So, for the people who don't know, basically this is our dashboard. Okay. You can actually maximize the dashboard as well. So there is this four arrow buttons that you see over here. You click over here and the screen maximizes. Okay. And the good part is that we have given all the important data points for the trader to know what is happening today. Okay. So say for example, I can see any index which I want to. Okay. Typically I do Nifty total market because it ends up covering somewhere around 750 stocks or so. Okay. And it ends up giving me a good idea as well as to what really is happening. So, while doing that, I found some interesting stocks where the volume is also very high. So, I think Ixigo was the one which posted the result as well, and I think it was good. Due to which there is a big gap up opening that we had seen today. I mean, currently it is up almost around 13%, but there is a meaningful rise in volume as well. Okay, so this makes me interested in this stock because one is that it is hitting an all-time high. The other thing is that it has broken the resistance with a good gap zone and a good spike in volume as well. So this looks interesting. Then while I was running through the list, uh, I also ended up seeing AWL, which is that Adani Wilmar. I don't know now if the name has changed, but so far the symbol is this. So over here as well, what I could spot was a small triangular formation. Okay, and there seems to be some spike in the volume as well today, which is probably encouraging. And you can see that the stock had corrected all the way from 880 levels to almost 300 levels. So maybe in the near term we can have this gap area as the resistance zone. Okay, this could basically be the resistance because earlier also it tested that and it corrected. And and over here also there is some sort of resistance, but even if it has to go till these levels, it might end up becoming an interesting short term stock to look out for. So basically, what I mean to say is that when you look at the dashboard, a lot of things might help you. I mean, it might help you a lot in analyzing which are the stocks where the action is and maybe where you might want to look into. So, say something like Charlotte Hotels as well. I saw, there was a flag formation that seems to be happening. Okay, and it is trying to break out above that with some pickup in volumes. So maybe this could be an interesting one as well. So it is not that I'm telling you to buy or sell, but what happens is that when you end up looking the stocks and they are interesting, you might want to put them into your watch list and see very carefully what is really happening over there. One more thing, which yesterday evening that I was scanning. Okay, so I am not sure how many of people might have seen the scanner, but there is this scanner volume gainers. Okay, yesterday I had showed you how to put all the Nifty 50 stocks right through the heat map. In case if you have missed it, please go through that session. I mean, I usually speak for 15-20 minutes or so. So somewhere over there you should be able to find it. But just to quickly show you in heat map. Oh, sorry, this is future heat map. So in normal heat map, you go to NSE all stock and you just create the watch list over there. Okay, for all the stocks. I mean, when you create all, it will get added into the watch list which you have created. Ideally, create a new watch list. Okay, after that, you add all the stocks and it will be added to your watch list. So that's how I have added over here. I think there were some 2000. Huh. So you can see over here. Okay, this is actually of 12th May. So I had done it similar on 15 July. So it captures around 2638 stocks. Uh, so now what I had done yesterday was that in the basket I went, and of course I selected all the basket and I saw the volume gainers. Okay, there Deccan Cement had come. Uh, Wait, let me check where it is. Yeah. So Deccan Cement was the one that came to my radar because it popped up in this list of volume gainers. And then I found something very interesting. That is because, when I saw, say, the daily chart, I could see that there is a big cup and handle that was formed yesterday. Okay. And it broke out of that. Now, I mean, how do we take the trade and all? That is a different ball game altogether. But through going through the list of volume gainers, I found this, and then I actually found one interesting trend. Okay, this was there Deccan Cement. Then I also found, you can see over here, Shri Digvijay Cement. Okay, this is also a cement company which is a very small one. So over here as well, you can see that there was this range that was forming, and it is now trying to break with a huge surge in volume. Okay, and then after that, just by chance, I was trying to see if there are any other, basically, if there are any other stocks that are popping up in the list. So I think I had checked this scanner, which is stocks near the 52-week high. Okay, I'm not sure how did I find those stocks, but say somewhere like JK Lakshmi Cement, I think that popped up in the list today. Ah, you can see over here JK Lakshmi Cement, that has popped into this, percentage away from the 52-week high. Then the other thing was, I think this was one stock, and also, yes, I think it was Ramco as well, who has either made a new high. So you can see over here Ramco also. So then basically what I discovered is that lot of cement stocks are hitting those new highs. So then what I did was that I went to the dashboard, okay, and then I had put that setup which I usually put, which is exponential 40 period average. And the Rohit momentum setup, okay, and the Bollinger Band. So let me just remove the background. Yeah, so it's over here. So now, now when I try to see everything, okay, Deccan Cement, I saw the monthly weekly chart, and it looks very good. Okay, so maybe now in the near term, this might be the level to watch out for, where it is almost at now. Okay, so but this is one important key resistance level, which is which it seems to be coming over here. But it can very well happen that maybe it finds some some sort of resistance over here, it consolidates. But because this is a very good cup and handle breakout, ideally this trend should last for a while. uh, then, as I mentioned, Shri Digvijay Cement, over there as well, I think it's wait, sorry. Yeah. So over here as well, I think the weekly or the monthly chart, something was interesting. So, so you can see over here on the monthly, the RMI can possibly come into the bullish mode this month. So this was there. Then I saw Ramco Cement. Okay, Ramco Cement also seems to have broken out from this very big consolidation that it had seen. Okay, this very big consolidation that it had seen. And I think then if you look at the leader as well, Ultratech Cement, that also seems to be, I mean, that had formed some sort of range over here if you see the daily chart. and even this stock is trying to break out. So then it sort of tells me that this is actually a sectorial move that is playing out, where mostly all the cement stock seems to be rising higher, and that's where you might end up seeing this trend lasting for some time. So basically, maybe when you look at the price scanners or all this volume buzzers, you might end up getting some interesting stocks or some interesting insights. And especially if you're a trader, I'm sure you are going to love it, because we even if you're a short term or an intraday trader, say for example, we give the stocks which are there with open is equal to low. Where are the stocks where the gap up is open, I mean gap up is happening, which are the stocks where the gap down opening is happening. So all this sort of information you just get within a click, and you can choose whatever index you want. Okay, if you want to see it, say in Nifty Midcap 150, you can see that, and all those list will come. So yeah, I mean that's about it. Oh shit, I just saw this. The screen was not shared. Shit. I'm so sorry. Hari says it's not your day today. No, so no problem. I'll just repeat it once again. I'll try to keep it a bit. So shit. I'm so sorry. Never mind. We'll start again. Yes, Hina. We'll start again. So see, firstly, what I spoke about was the Nifty index. Okay. So in Nifty index, what is happening is that it is actually stuck in the range. Yeah. So as you can see over here, the Nifty index is actually stuck in a range. Okay. And what we are seeing is that the 40-hour exponential is not breaking on the upside. Now, there might be a fear that, what happens if the hourly is going down? So do we end up getting one more decline, or what happens? Basically, this low needs to be held. I mean, if it is held, then maybe what might just happen is that would be some consolidation, and then eventually it should be rising higher. I mean, that is what my expectation is. And as I had mentioned, like, this is not purely based on the gut feeling or something like that, but there are many sentiment indicators that seems to be suggesting that. So say for example, something like daily swing, it went to the oversold zone and now it is recovering. Average swing also, it went very close to the oversold zone and it is recovering, and it has a lot more room on the upside to go higher. Apart from that, diffusion indicator was something where I could spot this, where the percentage of stocks with RMI buy, that had also hit the oversold zones. And typically that we have seen that, in this oversold zone, okay, in this oversold zone, we tend to get a good bounce back or even a new high. So the expectation actually is of a new high, but at least in a conservative case as well, what we might end up seeing is some sort of pullback, and maybe then only a decline, if at all the decline has to happen. But that is not honestly the base case scenario that I'm thinking of. That is also because the percentage of stock with MACD buy, even that is now coinciding, that has gone to the oversold zone and that is now bouncing back. So there are actually enough evidence to say that a pullback can happen, and even if the correction happens, maybe it might not last that long, because right now we are in an oversold zone, at least from a very very near term perspective. Okay. Then What I was actually highlighting was that there is this dashboard that we have, okay, which captures a lot of important information, like not just the gainers losers, but which are the stocks which are near the 52-week high within that particular basket, which are at 52-week low, where the open and high is equal, where the open and low is equal, where are the gap up, gap down stocks, and which are the volume buzzers. Okay. I mean, even if you see these kind of data, you might surely get some sort of insights. Uh, so wait, just let me check once again. Okay, now people are able to see. I hope you all are able to see my screen. Please confirm that. So before I start ranting again, I'm just sure that you are able to see my screen. If you're able to see my screen, just comment yes, so that we can move forward. Okay, great. So yes, so what I was seeing, so what I was saying was that market overview, it tends to give you a lot of information. So I mean, today itself when I was checking, so I typically like to see Nifty total market because that consists of 750 stocks, and it covers almost all the breadth of stocks like large cap, mid cap, small caps, micro caps, everything. So that's where I look at this index. Now, when I was searching through the volume buzzers, okay, I found some interesting stocks. So say something like Ixigo. Okay, I mean, it had seen a big gap up opening with a huge spike in volume, and that was possibly because of a very good result that it posted. Then in a bottom up stock, I found something like, say, AWL, which is Adani Wilmar. So over here also, there was some triangular sort of formation that was happening. Okay, and you could see that eventually it broke out, and I mean, it seems to be breaking out, and this breakout seems to be happening on a very good volume. So maybe in the near term, these gap areas, that might end up becoming some sort of resistance, say, which is around 300 to 320, because this gap was almost filled, and from there only we saw a correction. So now, if this high of 290 breaks on the upside, then maybe at the higher level, we can end up seeing this gap also getting filled, and which could be a reasonable, upside level also to watch out for. Now, what stop loss and all to keep. I mean, I don't want to get into the recommendation part, because each one might have their own method, but this stock seems to be looking a little interesting. Then, as I mentioned, I was looking Charlotte hotels as well. So over there also, there is, I mean, it is trying to break out from this falling trend line, and there is some pickup in the volume as well. So I could see many interesting stocks. In fact, Star Cement is the one that seems to be also breaking out. Okay, it has largely been in a sideways correction, but yes, I mean, as I was ranting and I didn't share my screen, but there are a lot of interesting cement stocks that are looking good. Now I'll tell you the reason why, and I'll tell you how I found it. Okay, yesterday I went to the scanners. Okay, there is something called as volume and delivery scanner. In that, I went to the volume gainers. Okay, so I'm selecting yesterday's date because I was checking it yesterday, and the basket was all Nifty 50 stock. I mean, all NSE stocks, which almost covers around 2,600 stocks. Okay, over there, one that I found was Deccan Cement. Okay, now I'll tell you why this looks interesting. That is because when you do the weekly chart of Deccan Cement, and you will see that there is a nice breakout that has happened yesterday. Okay, and it is currently almost at the higher levels. Now, one more thing that people need to take a note of is that if we draw this trend line, okay, it seems to be nearing that sort of resistance level. So what can possibly happen in my view is that there can be some consolidation that can take place, and then maybe it can again rise higher. This I'm thinking mainly because of the huge spike in volume that we have seen after a after a long time. So this is almost like a 4 5 year kind of breakout. And see, sometimes in a commodity stocks, when it is happening in a single stock, you might want to suspect that, okay, this could be a false breakout and this can fall. But when it happens across the basket, I mean, that might not be the case. Now I'll tell you why. Because there was something called a Shri Digvijay cement also, which I saw and which looked a little interesting. That is because it had gone up, it is consolidating, and again it is into cement stock. Uh, Now I'll tell you, as I told you, I mean, why I started digging more deeper into the cement stock. So one, I told you I found Deccan Cement. Okay. The other one that I told you was Shri Digvijay Cement. Okay. So I had just these two stocks in my mind, and then I just thought, why not try and see what is happening in the other cement stocks. Okay. And 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 what made me interested is that Deccan Cement, I already knew, right, that there is a breakout that is happening. But when I went to Shri Digvijay Cement, okay, when I went to this Shri Digvijay Cement over here, when I put our standard template, which is of Rohit setup, and so this is nothing but the Rohit setup. But now, because in the dashboard we don't have predefined template, I might well save it today so that I don't need to do it again and again. Uh, but yes, this is there, and the other thing is Rohit setup. I mean Rohit momentum. So what specifically caught my eye for Shri Digvijay Cement was also the monthly chart. Okay. And the monthly chart, what it is trying to do now is that trying to go back above the 40-month average. Okay, after bouncing back from the lower band, and the RMIs can possibly get into the bullish mode maybe this month or by next month. So this is one more interesting thing. And as I mentioned, it is also trying to break above the 40-week average, which has been resistance so far. So it is showing some early signs of reversal. So then that's where I was just randomly putting out all the I was just randomly typing all the stocks in which I found Ramco Cement. So over there, if you see the Ramco Cement chart, the breakout has actually occurred already, right? There was this triangular formation that was there, right? There was this triangular formation which was there that has already broken out. And if you see those higher level time frames as well, the chart looks encouraging. Let me hide the Bollinger Band. So you can see that this is the quarterly chart that I'm looking at. Okay. It is actually bouncing back from the 40 quarter average, and it is trying to, break out. And in all the cements, mind you, the similar trend that we are seeing is that they're trying to break out from this 2021 consolidation. The other one which I saw today in the list, which popped up in 52-week high, uh, list was JK Lakshmi Cement. Okay. And over there also, if you see the chart, there was this nice consolidation and a breakout. And even from a longer term perspective, it seems to have broken out. So the point that I'm trying to make is that this is not just one. I mean, it is not just happening in one stock, but it is happening across the sector, and even the sector leader, which is Ultratech Cement. Okay, over there also, this breakout is happening. There was this mini consolidation since 2024. Now, even that appears to be, they are trying to break on the upside. So that's where this sector caught my eye, and it would be interesting to see what happens in the next 3 to 6 months. I might not make too much of what happens in next 1 or 2 weeks. That is because only recently the breakout was happening. Typically, this is my observation. Whenever those breakout happens, people get excited. It might look like a very easy trade that this cup and handle has happened. Oh, now the stock should rise higher. But what may happen is that when the volume is very high and people are trying to get into this, it might sort of bore you for a while. Okay, it might do something like this, it might bore you, and it might make you feel that this was a pathetic decision and all that, and only after that it will start flying higher. I mean, this has happened to me n number of times. That's why I can tell you that this can possibly happen. So probably any retest of this earlier resistance level, say somewhere around 930 to 950 levels, it might make it an interesting stock to look at, especially from a positional perspective, purely because this cup and handle seems to be breaking out, and all its I mean its momentum indicator on all the time frames is almost bullish, right? So that's where this makes it an interesting one. So broadly watch out for cement sector. I mean, yesterday we spoke about FMCG, and some FMCG stock that we spoke about is actually doing well. But yeah, I mean, another sector that I found today was cement, and let's see how it unfolds. So with that, sorry I goofed up, at the start, but yeah, I mean, with that, if we have some questions, uh, yeah, we can take it up. So, Sam, your question is that can we have FNO group? We want to put it actually over here. It would be not just FNO, but Nifty all stocks. We would all, I mean, we'll try to put it over here. Uh, there is some design change that we'll need to make because almost the Nifty index has now come up with 100 stocks. So, we are thinking of some design change as well. Um, so yes, we'll try to include that. We'll try to include FNO. So Sanjeev, yes, you're right that we don't know what might happen. I mean, a lot of results are going to come and the reactions might be there, but I don't know. I mean, if I purely look at the data, it is encouraging. I mean, I to be very honest, let me put it that way. Looking at those data, I cannot be bearish at this point because the setup doesn't allow me to do that. I mean, see, I might end up missing this, but if I have to follow the process and see the charts and all, so it doesn't actually allow me to think bearish at this point of time. Whether it turns out or not, let's see. But at if at all the bounce come, and if it say halts around this 61.8% retracement level, then I'll be very watchful. Okay, because even my the least that I'm expecting is probably a bounce till 50 or 61.8% retracement, which is say somewhere around 25338 or 25417, somewhere over there, and maybe then it can fall if it has to fall. But as I mentioned, that is not what I'm thinking at this point. So let's see how this play out. I mean, we are meeting anyways every day, so we can assess how things are going, and where we went wrong, or why were we right, so we can always talk about it. So yes, trading hack. Yes, as your name suggests, it's a good hack. So yes, typically, if you want all the FNO stocks in your watch list, what you can do is that go to the heat map, go to FNO basket, and as the trading hack suggested, select all the stocks, and this will become your FNO stock list. Okay, so that you can monitor it every day, and it will be there in front of you every time, once you go to the watch list. So yes, I mean, I had actually made 50-50 ka 3-4 categories because I wanted to look I mean, I wanted to do some analysis on RRG on that, because RRG right now supports only 50 stocks at a time. We are trying to improve that. Let's see if we get any success. DV. Yes, VBL and UBL doing well. Right, right. Yes, they are doing well. So actually, the setup was very good. We discussed about it yesterday. Uh, Thanks for the great insights. Thanks. I hope this offers value to you, because see, please understand, the whole purpose of doing this live stream is not to give you, any recommendation or something, but it is to come up with a process of how I try to find stocks. If I can do it, of course you can do it. So I'm just, trying to guide you the way how I look at things. And the good part about Strike is that because it is a 360-degree platform where you get fundamentals, technicals, derivatives, everything, it makes our life a little easy, because you don't have to go to four other platforms and check it. So yes, that's the whole idea for Strike. Where our main purpose is that you boil down to those stocks very quickly, so that you get time to analyze them in depth, and you don't need to spend time in scanning stocks. Aditya says, how does Grasim look to you? Grasim, I had seen it. I think the setup is good over there. Over there as well, I think the setup is very much like Ultratech Cement only. It is consolidating, and then it appears to be breaking out. Okay, so see, this is the consolidation that what I'm talking about. I mean, it seems to be consolidating over here. If all goes well, I think this should do very well. Now, I'll tell you one more thing. I think I was looking at its weekly or monthly chart a few days back, and those were particularly interesting. Okay, that is because it was sort of, yeah. So if you see the monthly chart, that the 20-month average is not breaking and it is rising higher, which is actually a sign of strength. And now even on the weekly chart, it has started to take some support at the averages, and it is trying to move back higher. So the setup looks interesting, and this also more or less, looks like a cup and handle pattern, which seems to be forming. Okay, and see, this is where sometimes waiting for closing also becomes important, because if there is not much of a decisive close, you might tend to get these sort of pullback. But given that the larger trend is up, and on the daily chart, it is I just saw that on the daily chart, it is coming back to the 40-day exponential average. So it would be an interesting one to watch out for as to how it plays out. So let's see. The setup is good, needs some confirmation or breakout. So I think with that, all the questions are completed. So So yes, I think that's it for today. Hopefully, we should be able to get some decisive trend in the Nifty index when we talk tomorrow, and let's see what interesting we find tomorrow. Okay. Thanks a lot for joining today, and see you tomorrow at 11.